Good afternoon and good morning, everyone. From now on, the Global Water Leaders Forum will officially begin. I'm Hyunjung Lee from K-Water Global Cooperation Department, and it is a great honor to be the MC for today. The Global Water Leaders Forum is co-hosted by K-Water, Asia Water Council, and Asia National Assembly Water Consultative Board. Unfortunately, due to the COVID-19, today's forum is conducted as a virtual conference. So by taking this chance, I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to all participants for joining on and offline with us. Before the opening remarks, I would like to introduce the honorable global leaders one by one. Firstly, we have the CEO of K-Water and the President of Asia Water Council, Dr. Jae-yeon Park. Please welcome him with a big hand. Secondly, please welcome the Honorable Member of the National Assembly of the Republic of Korea, Dr. Jae-il-byun. We also have Professor Il-won Seo from the Department of Civil Environmental Engineering, Seoul National University. We also have online who are attending from online. We have Dr. Sanya Sulen Oyun, Director of External Affairs at Green Climate Fund. Please wave your hand, please. Next, please welcome Dr. Frank Leisberman, Director General of the Global Green Growth Institute. Next, we have Dr. Abu Amani, Secretary of the Unesco IHP. For the next leader, we have Dr. Marco Sehouten, CEO of VEI from Netherlands. We also have Dr. Michael To, Director of the Industry and Technology Collaboration Department in PUB, Singapore. Last but not least, we have Dr. Joseph Hun-Wei Lee, President of the International Association for Hydro Environment Engineering and Research. Thank you very much for all the participants. And to begin with, the CEO of K-Water will deliver the opening remarks. So please welcome Dr. Jae-yeon Park with a big round of applause.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. I'm Jae-yeon Park, CEO of K-Water and President of Asia Water Council. I would like to take this opportunity to express my gratitude to Honorable Lawmaker Byun Jae-il, Dr. Amani, Director of UNESCO, Dr. Loic Foshon, President of World Water Council, Dr. Frank Leisberman, Director General of GGGI, and Dr. Seo Il-won for taking time out of your tight schedule to participate in the first Global Water Leaders Forum today. In responding to climate change and a post-COVID-19 world, the Global Water Leader Forum has brought together high-level delegates to discuss global water issues and discover ways to address the problem together by sharing their valuable insights and perspectives. Through their long-term experiences in the water sector. This year has seen an increasing number of floods and drought, along with the severe impact of climate change. In addition, declining social and economic activities affected by the pandemic has put the global society at risk. It's time to focus on post-crisis strategy so that we can turn the crisis into an opportunity, coping with the new normal. In order to respond to the constantly changing environment of managing water and the future water-related risk, K-Water has set new objectives for management, which promote national water welfare, standards for smart water city, digital transformation, and Green New Deal. With the ambitious vision of a world top K-Water, we are committed to innovation to become more globally competitive and contribute to solving global water-related problems. I sincerely hope that today's forum will provide a meaningful platform for K-Water and water-related organizations and businesses to share the problem we face and discuss the future directions to strengthen cooperation and enhance global water security. Although we could not be able to meet in person to discuss here today, I wish to thank all of you for your participation online and to extend my gratitude to all of you for celebrating the inauguration of the forum. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Park, for opening the forum. And then we have the most important person here. He is the president of the World Water Council, who is managing all the water issues globally. So I would like to send the deepest gratitude and big welcome to Dr. Loic Foshon, the president of the World Water Council. Everyone, please welcome him in a big round of applause. Thank you. To encourage all the participants, Dr. Jae Byun, member of the National Assembly of the Republic of Korea, will deliver his congratulatory remarks. So please welcome him with a huge round of applause.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm Byun Jae-il, a member of the National Assembly of the Republic of Korea and the president of the Asian National Assembly Water Consultative Board. By taking this opportunity, I'd like to extend my appreciation to K-Water CEO Park Jae-hyun, Professor Seo Il-hyun, UNESCO Assistant Director General Samila Neo Beduella, World Water Council President Loic Foshon, GGGI Director General Frank Rice-Berman, and all participants who are joining us both in person and online. As Dr. Park mentioned earlier, it is projected that more health and hygienic crises will arise from new types of infectious disease, including COVID-19, which threaten our daily lives now. In this regard, securing clean and safe water is the top priority to prevent and recover from these unprecedented difficulties. In order to secure a stable and clean water supply, it is necessary to ensure the safety and health of water service provider while sharing the experience, know-how, and insight of water experts with as many people as possible. In conclusion, just like the origin of the word forum, it means the public square for open discussion in an ancient Roman city. I hope the global leaders here with us will share more valuable insights and ideas to protect people around the world, both now and in the post-COVID era. Thank you.
From this point, we will move on to the keynote speeches for today's agenda. We are honored to have two renowned guests deliver the keynote speeches online. To begin with, Dr. Abu Amani, Secretary of the UNESCO IHP, will deliver his keynote speech on climate adaptation amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Following to that, the World Water Council President Loic Foshon will give an address on water security for peace and development. So, Dr. Amani, please have the floor.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity. And also, I would like to thank the organizers, Dr. Jo-Hyun Park, Key Water, CEO and President of Asia Water Council, Dr. Jae-Hil Byung, lawmaker of the Republic of Korea, and the President of the Asia National Assembly Water Consultative Board, Dr. Louis Foshon, President of the Water Council, distinguished panelists, global water leaders and experts, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. It's my great honor to attend, even though it's virtual, the first ever Global Water Leaders Forum together with such exceptional panelists comprising of well-known global water experts and leaders. On behalf of our Assistant Director General for Natural Science Sector, Dr. Shamila Ner-Bedwell, I would like sincerely to convey our congratulations to K-Water on hosting this first Global Water Leader Forum. Allow me also to take the opportunity to congratulate lawmaker Jae-Hil Byung for his appointment in September as the President of the Asia National Assembly Water Consultative Board. Dear colleagues, we are living in an era of uncertainty caused by the combination of climate change crisis and the COVID-19 crisis and also other global changes. In this, we know that climate change and COVID-19 have no boundaries. They are global issues, not a challenge for a single country or a single region. Dear colleagues, the recently published United Nations Development World Water Development Report 2020 on water and climate change, which was published by UNESCO on behalf of the UN Water, identify some key messages, but I want to highlight 3 of them. First message, climate change challenges the sustainability of water resources, which are already under severe pressure in many regions of the world, and amplifies water-related extremes, including floods and drought. That's the first message. The second message, water is a climate connector that allows to greater collaboration and coordination among different international agendas, including the Agenda 2030 with all the 17 SDGs, the Paris Agreement on climate change, and then the Sendai Framework on disaster risk reduction. So water is connecting those international global agendas and also other international agendas. Third message, while the need to address climate change through water is well recognized, this is not being translated really in action. Climate funds offer a great opportunity to provide additional financing for water. So I'm glad that we have one of the representatives of those funds. This could be an opportunity for discussion to see to what extent water could have also its entry for financing. We have also other many messages, but those are, I believe that for our discussions are those 3 key messages I want to highlight within this report. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, water is a connector, and water security is indispensable for addressing climate change, reducing inequality in access to the resources that sustain life, and in achieving almost all the SDGs. We all know that no SDG among the 17, of course, the 6 is the water. The other 16, no one will be achieved directly or indirectly without water. So water is at the center of sustainable development. Sustainable water management was identified as an underlying risk factor when designing sound disaster risk reduction policies and strategies, and it has received a prominent role in countries seeking to fortify themselves from disasters and achieving the objective of standard framework. The new urban agenda also has a significant part of focus on responsibility in providing sustainable water services to all. Dear colleagues, climate change will affect the availability, quality, and quantity of water for basic human needs. Unfortunately, threatening the effective enjoyment of human rights to water and sanitation for potentially billions of people. Holistic scientific approach for evidence-based decision and enhanced capacity are needed in addressing the complex water, climate, and pandemic nexus challenges. Indeed, we cannot manage something we don't know properly. Therefore, better understanding the water complex interlinkages is crucial. The UNESCO Intergovernmental Hydrological Program plays a key role, as you all know, as a platform for scientific networking and cooperation to contribute to provide valuable water information and tools on key areas of concern, including, among others, hydrological extreme, floods and drought, and the related opportunities for climate mitigation, adaptation, disaster risk reduction, on groundwater, water quality, water scarcity, nature-based solution through eco-hydrology. Furthermore, through its water family, including the IHP National Committee is in 169 countries, the World Water Assessment Program, which is producing the well-known World Water Development Report, the 36 Category 2 centers worldwide on water, and also more than 60 chairs in different universities in the world on water, is creating a family which helping member states in developing sound basis for monitoring and assessment of water resources. We also explore issues related to water in cities. This is very, very important. As we all know, we are more urban people now in the world, and it will continue to grow. So water in the cities is another next challenge. We are also working on that aspect. In that regard, we are implementing currently a project thanks to the generosity of the government of Republic of Korea on water, climate change, and cities. And currently we are doing it in select countries in Africa and Asia. And this is a long-term program we have for the next 10 years. Thank you very much for this support. And this really, I'm very grateful, and on behalf of UNESCO, to emphasize on this aspect, this very important project. Dear colleagues, we have only many other tools, but I don't have time to go through them. But let's come back to now the COVID. I talk climate change, and water is a key element of solution, climate change. Now on COVID, clean water, safe drinking water, and basic sanitation are essential conditions to overcome COVID-19 crisis. We all know without water, we cannot even wash our hands. Without the hygiene required to decrease the rate of the infection, we cannot address the spread of the pandemic. The global pandemic, unfortunately, has painfully reminded us, the ultimate urgency to address the issue of water access and sanitation to all. Because we know that, unfortunately, in many regions of the world, we have many billions, millions of people. We unfortunately don't have access to safe drinking water. SDG 6, which aim to ensure availability and sustainable management of water resource and sanitation for all, is unfortunately, I'm emphasizing on this, is unfortunately off track. If we are continuing in this trend, unfortunately, we will not achieve SDG 6 and many other SDGs. So we need to mobilize to boost, to accelerate the implementation of SDG 6 and other SDGs. In that regard, as we all know, UN Water launched what we call the SDG 6 Global Accelerator Framework to mobilize all stakeholders in the world so that we can accompany member states to boost the implementation of SDG 6. Significant effort in investment and development of sustainable and resilient water infrastructure, as well as capacity development, are needed to accelerate implementation of SDG 6. There's no doubt about it. We need to have more investment so that water could be mobilized and be at the needed uses. But not only that, we need also a meaningful participation of girls and women. We all know gender is a key issue. We know that among the 4 pillars of ADWRIM, one of the pillars we have the critical participation of women on water management. So involving women is essential so that we can have gender transformative water policies. This is very, very important aspect of capturing gender aspect. The combination of the pandemic result with those climate change have pushed every industry to become smarter through eco-friendly technical innovation. Smart water management tools are becoming the new standard. We need to have smart new technology, new innovation, of course, for better water management. We observe that climate change and COVID-19 affect society in an imbalanced manner, unfortunately. They especially have a bigger impact on the underprivileged and those who are socially vulnerable. Ladies and gentlemen, to address the climate change and pandemic crisis, we need more science. This is the second part now. We need more science. In particular, we need more science to be present in more public policies. We need more dissemination of scientific research to more people, not only to the laboratories and scholarly circles, but also to civil societies. UNESCO, as the UN agency with a mandate for science, is a legitimate global organization enabled to build a coherent vision on open science. As you know, we receive a mandate from the member states of UNESCO to come with a recommendation on open science. A draft recommendation is already available, and it's still in discussions, and it will be presented next year during the UNESCO General Conference for approval by member state of UNESCO. This is very, very important, having open science. UNESCO has continuously emphasized the needs for international solidarity and significant water cooperation. So in order to respond to respond as a global community, there is a need to collect and share the experience and insights of leaders, especially in decision making, to develop innovative and effective policies. The role of leaders, your role, the leaders here today, is important more than ever in this era of prolonged crisis. I sincerely hope that global water leaders gathered today in this virtual room will play a crucial role in laying the foundation of such effort, calling for companies, local communities, countries to a paradigm shift, going further to promote mutual development and prosperity, ultimately to overcome climate change and COVID-19 crisis. Now it is the time to change our mindset, to take actions jointly and strengthen cooperation with a shared vision. We have no luxury of the business as usual model, where nations and regions develop their responses in silos. Together, and only together, we will succeed for building resilient societies, building back better, and leaving one behind. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Amani, for delivering such inspiring speech on behalf of the UNESCO IHP. For the next keynote speech, I would like to invite the President of World Water Council, Mr. Loic Foshon. Loic, President Foshon, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody, or good morning for those who are in Europe. Dear President Dr. J. Yon Park, and dear President Dr. J. Hilbyun, I would like to thank you for inviting the World Water Council to participate to this, as usual, to this Global Water Leaders Forum. I would like more globally to thank my Korean friends to participate to the work of the World Water Council. I would like, I regret that the current sanitary conditions do not allow me to be with you in Korea, your wonderful country, your country which has welcomed me so warmly many times and organized the 7th World Water Forum with great success. Let me underline that the World Water Council has developed for more than 10 years with Korea a long and fruitful partnership around the concept of green growth. And on many occasions, I have appreciated the high technological skills and wonderful know-how of the Korean specialists who are leaders in many sectors of the water industry. Today, I would like to share with you just a few ideas about water security. As some of you know it, I've been thinking and expressing on this subject for several years, and I have now the satisfaction to note that this subject, this issue has become a worldwide major concern for global development, but at the same time, for nature conservation. In the action group, which is preparing the thematic process of water security for the next World Water Forum, which will take place in Dakar in March 2022, more than 100 high-level organizations have decided to give priority and work on some strategic issues I would like to mention. First, implement the right to water and sanitation. Secondly, provide access to safe water and sanitation in emergency situations. Third, improve water quality and waste management. Fourth, reduce water-related illness and deaths. Fifth, protect and restore ecosystems and forests, including coastal and marine impacts, and combat desertification. Six, at the loss of aquatic biodiversity and invasive species in water ecosystems. And last, strengthen resilience and adaptive capacity to climate change and water-related disasters. All these subjects are accurate, are complex, and they have been identified to give a spatial impulse for the progress of water security. But my real concern today is wider, more political, more social. The questions are how to secure access to water and sanitation for all. The question are how to secure access to water for man and for nature in the same time. The question are how to secure sustainable and equitable development and peace for the planet. Our world, ladies and gentlemen, our world is thirsty. Our world is hungry. Our world is ill and poor. Energy and water are becoming increasingly scarce or erratic resources. People are facing growing threats to their health as well as vital food supplies. Billions of people all over the world are suffering the accumulated effects of many types of crises. Due to demographic growth and more uncontrolled urbanization, suffering is becoming more intense and more brutal. And at the same time, there's a new consciousness about the necessary environmental approach. Peace and dignity and a fairer world in the long term depend on two elements. First, access to development opportunities, and secondly, the need to protect the natural world. To develop and protect nature, we need to act with mutual respect and find a sustainable balance between the use of our increasingly coveted natural resources and the need to protect them. And water is one of these natural resources. And it has become a rare commodity in terms of both quantity and quality. Due to our careless domestic, industrial, and agricultural uses of water, resources in our rivers, boreholes, water tables, dams, and reservoirs are under pressure and rapidly being depleted. Water security is first of all an equation of balance between supply and demand. And as the demand for water increases, supply is insufficient. At global and local scale, our lives depend on the availability of water. If we fail to manage its availability, we condemn entire populations to being excluded for development and equitable enjoyment of fundamental human rights. Collectively and individually, this is our responsibility, or rather, these are our responsibilities. We must remember to ensure water security worldwide for us all and by us all. To secure water use, we have to find the right approach between water now and water for the future, water today and water for tomorrow. Securing resources means finding the additional water resources needed to meet demand and respect the balance. To achieve all this, we can rely on human engineering and the ability to constantly innovate and come up with new solutions. This begins with technical solutions. In the future, we will need to drill for water more deeply, transport it over longer distances, store it for longer, and purify it more efficiently. We will develop new, cheaper, and more advanced solutions, such as the wider use of desalination and wastewater reuse, for example. Technological innovation will enable us to speed up the progress of new, smarter, more efficient, more environment-friendly, more sustainable, and fairer solutions. Digital innovation, which will also bring a better future for water security. For example, digital technology range from sensors, remote controls, leak detection, weather forecasts, data processing, augmented reality, process optimization, and others. But all the technological and digital solutions will be a real progress only if they are respectful of basin water sharing, respectful of ecosystems protection, and respectful of nature conservation. But apart from technology, there's also the need, indeed the obligation, to take political action. Global water security has now become an integral part of every country's national security and foreign policy. To improve efficiency, we now need to go beyond the concept of integrated water resource management, which is a vertical approach to the short water cycle. It needs to be combined during the years to come with a horizontal approach based on the fundamental links between water, energy, food, and not only this nexus, but also health and education, but applying what I call the 5 fingers alliance concept. The right to water, so easily proclaimed, yet so difficult to enforce, will be the common thread running through collective action and policy on water security. Everybody knows that the days of easy water are gone. We must build to ensure that every drop of water is useful for these basic needs. Ladies and gentlemen, water is not one sustainable development goal among 17 others. It is the most precious element that enables the future of the planet. That's the reason why the World Water Council advocates today for 4 main recommendations. The first one is that a universal right to water and access to water for all should be given a higher political priority. The second one is that financing water, better knowledge, and shared governance are keys to implement water priority. The third one is that urban and rural planning should include water security solutions as a prerequisite for any kind of project. And the fourth is that electricity and water resources should both be approached as renewable resources. For example, water recycling and reuse should enter in our legal portfolio in the future. We are on the road to the 9th World Water Forum, which will be held in March 2022. We have decided just last week to postpone it from 1 year, and it will be organized, as you know, in Dakar, Senegal, co-organized by the World Water Council and the state of Senegal. You are, my dear colleagues, all of you, global leaders and high-level decision makers. I invite you to seize this opportunity to work together during the World Water Forum preparation process. Together, all together, we shall bring joint solutions and give answers and responses to the world as population need to see a change in their daily life. It's an emergency. It's our duty. It's our responsibility. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, President Foshon, for the memorable speech that emphasized the importance of global water security. So once again, we appreciate our two keynote speakers for sharing their valuable ideas and insights on climate adaptation and water security. So from now on, there will be a panel discussion. I would like to invite Professor Il-won Seo of Seoul National University to moderate the session. So everyone, please welcome Professor Seo with a big round of applause.
Good morning and good afternoon. I'm Professor Il-won Seo. It is my pleasure to be the moderator for today's panel session. As a key part of today's Global Water Leaders Forum, we'll proceed with panel discussion now. To have an in-depth discussion in a limited time, I cordially ask all the panelists to keep to the designated speech time, 3 to 4 minutes. Now, let's begin the session. Regarding the topics of keynote speeches, I would like to ask a common question to all of the panelists and special individual questions to be followed. In consideration of the time, I request some questions to specific members of the panel at once. Now, the common question for all the panelists are as follows. As the keynote speakers presented earlier, the global economy has plunged into a deep recession due to COVID-19 pandemic, and additionally, the world faces significant climate change challenges. This year, a number of countries have suffered from climate-related disasters such as floods and typhoons. In response to these challenges, how has your organization prepared for and developed a strategy for disaster risk management and climate change adaptation? This common question is on the chat window on Zoom. Please refer to this when you answer the individual questions. First, I would like to direct this question to Dr. Frank Rice-Berman. Dr. Frank Rice-Berman, you have actively participated in numerous water-related projects through various work experience at Google and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and etc. For the post-COVID-19 world, what sort of economic and technological strategies related to water management will we need in order to adapt to climate change and promote green growth in developing countries? Please answer to this question along with common questions earlier. Frank?
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the session today. The Global Green Growth Institute, GGI, as an intergovernmental organization supporting members to transition to a greener model of development, believes that greening the COVID-19 recovery, that is to provide green jobs as well as accelerate climate action, is both a key opportunity and also a threat. The opportunity is to use the huge investment of trillions of dollars that countries are currently mobilizing to recover from the pandemic, to also accelerate climate action, to build back better. But the threat is that if we do not use this opportunity, given the need to pay back the debt created by the stimulus packages, there are unlikely to be other chances for similar investments. To date, the European Union and Korea have announced Green New Deals. They are good examples for greening the recovery, but the analysis of stimulus packages from other governments show that few have a green component, let alone a green component that outweighs the brown or more conventional investment. I think that must be our top priority. GDGI has worked with its members to develop a model Green New Deal for emerging and developing economies, and is working with its member countries to develop Green New Deal plans. And the first projects, worth about $10 million, are about to be signed with one donor, particularly focused on LDCs and SIDS, and are expected to create some 30,000 green jobs. They include climate-smart agriculture and solar-powered irrigation for small island development states in these developed countries. And in fact, we believe that in rural areas, to create green jobs and adapt to climate change, climate-smart agriculture and solar irrigation in particular are high-priority opportunities to increase climate resilience of agri-food systems in a low-carbon manner. And for cities, there are multiple water, energy nexus points, opportunities to replace fossil fuel used for desalination with renewable energy, or using water-based district heating and cooling systems, for example. In addition, sanitation remains under-prioritized in many developing countries. And in developing countries that currently have low coverage of sewage systems, decoupling sanitation from wastewater and integrating sanitation with solid waste management, we believe, is an important alternative that needs further exploration. As in the energy sector, we believe that for water and sanitation, to move away from more centralized grid-based systems to more decentralized systems, providing self-provision of drinking water and sanitation, can be expected to grow in importance. And I think it behooves the water and sanitation sector to both be prepared for such changes and to proactively explore solutions that can, as I said before, help green the COVID recovery at the same time as improve particularly the climate resilience, which is such a critical element for the water and sanitation sector. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Rice-Berman, for your view. The next question is for Dr. Sanja Suren-Oyun. As a political and financial specialist in the environmental sector, could you share any adaptation and mitigation practices that GCF is currently working on to counter the climate change? In addition, please share your thought and give some advice on the role of governments, public sectors, and private sectors in achieving the SDGs. Please answer to this question along with the common question.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me. And thanks very much for the opportunity to speak at this important event. And water has been always very close to my heart. I was also chairing Global Water Partnership a few years ago, major multi-stakeholder partnership, as you know. At the outset, I would like to actually congratulate the Republic of Korea for their recent announcement on net zero, on carbon neutrality target by 2050. I think it's really can propel the country to global leadership, both for climate, but also sustainable development. It's very encouraging. Back to the question, the first question, and I think some of you, including Frank, also noted very clearly that currently with the COVID pandemic, this global disruption must embed the resilient recovery measures. I think this message has come very strong. So to your question, what GCF and Green Climate Fund, where I'm working, is doing. So in the era of COVID, what we've done is, of course, we are focusing first of all on accelerating the development of investment that will raise both climate ambition and climate paradigm shifting. That's our work and our mandate. But of course, at the same time, we would like to have the same projects, have strong socioeconomic benefits, creation of jobs, and then we'll hopefully also aid the COVID recovery efforts. And that's when the water supply, sanitation, wash, climate resilient wash, of course, comes very much into play. Now, because our fund, Green Climate Fund, works with developing countries, I just wanted to emphasize one thing. Many developed countries, OECD countries, as you know, have been drawing upon their financial reserves to carry out the green stimulus packages, which is, of course, very commendable. Of course, if it's green recovery, we know that more is going to brown recovery rather than green. But for developing countries, this is not a luxury. And developing countries are really hardest hit by COVID, but also, of course, the climate crisis has been hitting them as well. And we all heard about the Hurricane Eta last week. For example, Ambassador of Honduras to Seoul, for example, visited us last week in Songdo at GCF, and he was saying that most of the budget has been redeployed already for COVID crisis. And once you are hit by disaster like Eta, and he was saying, for example, 60% of all their cities are underwater, it's very difficult to draw or find any new additional resources. It's a double burden of health crisis, but also climate crisis. So, for example, with the ambassador, we discussed how to accelerate the implementation of some of our projects that we funded for Honduras. One, for example, with IDB, which will help in improving the livelihoods of farmers and help with infrastructure investment. So the main objective for GCF this year, despite the COVID, despite the virtual board meetings that we've been holding, to basically to deliver on our mandate, deliver funding, deliver accelerate the implementation, also deliver the injection of cash goes into green investments, and then so that the pipeline of projects that is coming from countries have also, as I said, the co-benefits of job creation and co-benefits for COVID recovery. This week, actually, we have a board meeting, and every evening this week, it started yesterday. Our board meeting, we hold our board meetings 3 times a year. And this week, we're also, hopefully, if all the funding proposals will be approved, then we will be approving another $1 billion worth of project proposals. And as I said, hopefully with a lot of benefits. As of today, we have currently $21 billion worth of projects as a portfolio in more than 100 developing countries. And we work with almost 100 partners. They're called accredited entities. We work with them. We also fund, finance, implement through them. Out of those $21 billion portfolio, 6.2 billion actually came from GCF funding. And of course, we leverage public, but also private sector funding. Almost 40% of our funding, nearly 40, is going to private sector projects, climate project. And I think it's very, very important to get private sector involved. Now, one thing I just want to emphasize that before the pandemic, of course, during the, we all were saying, okay, finance is the key, and we need at least a few trillions, $1 to 2 trillions of dollars per year for the investments that are needed in low carbon and green investments. But then it's true that before the pandemic, the world was not moving in the direction nowhere near those trillions of dollars that were needed to reach a Paris Agreement 1.5 degrees sort of path. And it wasn't clear where the money was going to come from. But then with COVID, we see that when there is a major unprecedented crisis, resources can be freed at unprecedented scale. but again, in developed countries, and we've heard about $12 trillion actually that were actually freed and being deployed for the COVID green, I keep saying green, for stimulus packages. Unfortunately, not all of it is green. Since this is Water Leaders Forum, let me just very briefly mention that GCF's water security portfolio, but also pipeline of projects, is focusing on various areas of climate risk mitigation adaptation. But in addition to climate resilient WASH, also IWRM, flood protection, drought resilience, irrigation, hydropower, watershed protection and restoration, wastewater recycling. Also funded many projects on climate information and early warning systems. And again, in developing countries, and what our water sector projects portfolio is relatively quite a large portfolio. There was a question on the role of the governments, public sector and private sector. And I think the example of how GCF funds projects is an example of how public sector scarce money can leverage and move private sector, but also not only private sector, but other partners' investment to leapfrog for our partner countries into low carbon development and investments. One of the main features of GCF's investment is that we de-risk the funding, and we use a wide range of financial instruments like sovereign guarantees, equities, grants, first loss equity, but also concessional loans in order to create bespoke solutions so that the projects that couldn't move from the ground can go forward and can leapfrog to greener. Maybe for the sake of the time, I will just use an example of only one project, which is cross-cutting. We'll have both adaptation, mitigation, but also energy and water. So it's an energy project in Chile. The project is funding what will be the world's largest hydropower station using seawater, and will provide a vast energy source and making more fresh water available for drinking water and agriculture, but using seawater. So it's located in Tarapacá Desert in Chile, 560 megawatt photovoltaic solar plant that will provide energy during the day, and 300 megawatt pumped storage hydroelectric facility that generates electricity at night, using the Pacific Ocean as the lower reservoir and natural geographic features as the upper reservoir. So basically, it's a combination of renewable energy with water pump, a hydroelectric facility, and the combination of it, of course, is hopefully solving the intermittent renewable energy. But what's innovative in the financing is, overall, it's almost $1 billion project, and GCF is funding the first 60 million, which is not a big bulk of 1 billion, but just providing 60 million into de-risking.
Excuse me, Dr. Sanjasuren, would you please let it up?
Yes, yes. Basically, by de-risking the initial, de-risking the initial equity, then that can leverage the remaining 900 million. So I think role of government, role of international organization is actually use $1 to raise the next $10 so that the investment can go into low carbon and green investments. Thank you.
Thank you for your opinion, Dr. Sanjasuren. Okay. Before moving on to next question, I like to ask all the panelists to keep your speech in 3 minutes, please. Okay, now I would like to ask next question to Dr. Jae-Hyun Park. From 2021 Paris Agreement, the first universal legally binding global climate change agreement will take effect to reduce greenhouse gas emission, and renewable energy is considered a key climate solution. In this regard, how does K-Water perceive and respond to this matter?
예, 기후 변화가 이제 위기 수준에 이르렀다는 점에서
Yeah, I do agree with you that the global climate emergency is coming to us. In response to this crisis, K-Water is preparing to make innovation for the effective solutions.
물 공급 과정에서의 에너지 사용량을
And for example, the energy usage will be reduced in the water supply, and we're going to reduce the greenhouse gas emission. In addition to it, we're going to use the floating solar power and the hydrothermal energies as a renewable energy sources.
물재해에 대한 철저한
And we are going to get prepared for the disaster related to the water. In addition to it, currently K-Water is working on the SWC and the Water Industry Promotion Program, and we are going to find out the new opportunity for the growth during the climate crisis.
Okay, thank you for sharing your insight, Dr. Jayan Park. Next question is the same question for AAWC, K-Water, and PUB. In response to post-COVID-19 crisis and climate change, what industrial sectors and technologies does the water sector need to pay more attention to? In addition, joint efforts by countries and organizations are required to achieve SDGs, especially SDG 6. Please share your ideas and comments regarding this. First, Dr. Michael To, please answer to this and common question together. Please keep your speech in 3 minutes.
Yeah, good day, President K-Water. Congratulations on this wonderful event. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very good question. This pandemic has tested all aspects of our work, but at the same time, it has also affirmed that some areas that PUB and many utilities that has been working on are correct. In fact, we believe that many needs a lot more acceleration. And one such area is technology adoption. I think technology has enabled Singapore to meet its water needs, and we continue to look for water solutions. In fact, Singapore has set aside more than $500 million of Singapore dollars over 15 years to promote water research and to grow water technologies and companies in Singapore. We want to work with every partners around the world, in Singapore and elsewhere. And in addition to guide us is our mission. We need to increase water resources. We need to protect water quality and security and reduce production costs. I think this was mentioned by a number of speakers earlier, and these are challenges that faces most utilities. To help our work, we also have a technology roadmap. I think we are looking at energy footprint, reducing energy footprint, resource recovery, industrial water, and smart water solutions. As many speakers alluded to, we can't do this alone. Partnership is essential. And one such partner is K-Water. I think K-Water and the Korean water industry has been a special partner for Singapore and PUB. I think we have a good relationship with K-Water, and we have worked in many areas like water quality management, floating solar panels, and in value, to value the relationship, we have signed an MOU with K-Water in September 2019 to facilitate discussions in areas of mutual interest. So we look forward to working with K-Water to push on this front. We are also very happy that we have engagements with Korean water industries. I think we have identified solutions from Korea that are aligned to our roadmap, and we want to foster greater collaboration. PUB will open its facilities for testing, and one such project is with GS Engineering on blue energy to recover energy from reverse osmosis process and from desalination and recycling. We have tried these solutions, and we are also trying with other companies from Korea. And we thank you for all the wonderful collaboration. I think for many of us, our mission is important. How do you supply good water, reclaim used water, and tame storm water? I think many government agencies through this COVID pandemic has realized that we need to think long-term and plan for the future. We need to put our people, our citizens at the center of its policies and develop infrastructure in advance of the demand. And some of this water infrastructure, as you know, takes a long time to build, and therefore it is important for us to look ahead. I think in Singapore, one of the unique aspects is also that we have one government agency that is managing the entire water system. So it allows Singapore to manage our water resources in a holistic manner and make the necessary trade-offs to achieve this mission. So if finally, in conclusion, I want to encourage all of us to work together, to come together, and to collaborate to meet the necessary water challenges around the world. Thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, thanks for your valuable comments. Next, Mr. Jail Byun, please answer to the question.
We are facing COVID-19 and climate change issues. And I think these are key issues that we have to solve at this moment. To respond to COVID-19, at the National Assembly of Korea, we had a meeting regarding how to finance budget, how to secure budget to respond to COVID-19. And at the same time, we have worked on the vaccination and other medication. I believe that they are very necessary to respond to COVID-19. So to develop vaccine and the treatment, the government is very engaged with these initiatives. So we are working with partners to develop vaccines and treatments. And even after COVID-19, I believe that we will be exposed to diverse viruses, and these viruses will threaten our lives. That's our prediction. So within Korea, we have to make sure that we have to build the best virus laboratory in Korea. So we have to make sure that we can fight against the viruses, and we have to conduct R&D activities to fight against the future viruses. And when it comes to climate change, what is the most important is to make net zero era. And at the same time, we have to secure the energy that is essential for human lives. And we have to look for diverse measures, especially renewable energy, to source electricity. And in Korea, we're focusing on hydrogen economy. So we are making sure that we can secure hydrogen, affordable energy in an efficient manner. So we want to utilize hydrogen to generate electricity. So we want to secure affordable hydrogen energy in an efficient manner. So we'll put all the effort and time for that end. So we need to fight against COVID-19, and we have to find the new source of electricity, and we have to develop vaccine. But these initiatives cannot be done by a single person or a single country. I believe that this is a global issue. Every country and every organization have to work together to address this problem. In that regard, I believe that using science technology, we can fight against COVID-19. At the same time, we can develop vaccines so that we can address the future viruses. And at the same time, we have to work on climate change response. And for that end, I believe that we have to enhance international solidarity and collaboration. And regarding water management, I believe that water resources have been really essential to respond to COVID-19. We have a new deal that is the initiative of Korean government. We have a digital new deal. This is a government initiative. And as mentioned earlier, we have to utilize digital technology, IoT technology, and sensor technology, and ICT technology. So we have to make sure that we have to operate SOCs and infrastructure in a smart manner. And we have to maximize the cost efficiency. For that end, SOC and digital business is a very important project for the Korean government. Using them, we can support the industry and we can develop industrial water and agricultural water and domestic water and so on. And for the most effective and efficient water management, we have to utilize digital technology and ICT technology to maximize efficiency. And in that journey, we have to collect the know-how inside each other. And if needed, we can share our insight with other countries. Thank you very much.
Thanks for your views, Dr. Byun. The same question goes to President of AWC and the CEO of K-Water, Dr. Jae-hyun Park.
Many of the experts believe that there will be another pandemic after the COVID-19, as there is a chance for another pandemic in the future. So, rather than calling the post-corona, we are gonna live in the era with corona. Probably that might be the right description, with corona. Given the climate change is increasingly driving extreme weather patterns such as big changes in the rainfall patterns, responses by organizations or by a single country would not be effective to confront these kind of issues. In response to climate change adaptation, we need to focus on the renewable energy development, water such as floating solar power and hydrothermal energy. And with other countries or organizations, we've been working together we've been working with the PUB, and there has been regular meeting between the two. And we are working really hard to manage the technology such as renewable energy for the reduction of the emissions and the reuse of the treated wasted water and the water management. And in this respect, I propose a technological collaboration and cooperation with the PUB for the renewable energy with water. In order to fundamentally resolve the global issues, and we need to have the more collaboration among the organizations and the countries. Economic and technical solutions of the AWC and the legislative and the political support from AWC together will be a great milestone in the process of finding a solution for the global and the Asian water issues. Besides, K-Water and AWC are actively participating in the 9th World Water Forum as a part of the pilot group for the water security, and the AWC is now under the discussion on its role in the forum as a representative platform for the parliamentary diplomacy. That's it from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Park, for sharing your insights. Next question is for Dr. Joseph Lee. Concerning climate change adaptation and mitigation, what is the strategic direction of your organization for more efficient and sustainable management of water resources? Please answer to this question and the question, a common question together, please.
Thank you, Chair. President Dr. Park, Honorable Dr. Yun, thank you for the opportunity to speak here and share some of my thoughts. In the limited time available, I just highlight a few things that we do. Earlier, there was a comment that more science is needed. I would say more science and engineering is needed because that's what IHR does. We are an international network of experts in 98 countries. And basically, we contribute to the cause through our knowledge products and global events. So I'll just briefly mention 3 examples. Well, 6 years ago, we've already established a working group on global water security to galvanize the interdisciplinary strengths of top experts in different fields to tackle the key issues, to promote awareness in the profession, and to disseminate frontier R&D through our knowledge products. As an example, during the COVID crisis, just March this year, March 21st, 2020, in commemoration of the UN World Water Day, we mounted a half-day online forum specifically on hydro environment engineering and adaptation to climate change. And we gathered experts from 3 continents to convey the latest state of the art, the solutions, the best practices. And it was viewed by 13,000 over the world, over 60 plus countries. And much of the R&D, the strategic R&D related to organization has been devoted to the impact of climate change on water resources, how to factor in these extreme events in the design, in the planning of the water infrastructure. Secondly, we bridge research and practice. Many of our members contributed solutions for national government, state-of-the-art guidelines. We published white papers on design criterion, on climate change. And these can be structural or non-structural measures. And these are exemplary solutions of climate change adaptation of governments. These can range from award-winning urban stormwater diversion and storage schemes in sponge cities to smart water management to conserve water or minimize leakage, and using the state-of-the-art AI, not just IoT, but really a state-of-the-art groundbreaking technology. And advanced technologies often play a role in these innovative solutions, as we all know. Thirdly, and most importantly, we've established a working group on eco-hydraulics and nature-based solutions to develop nature-based solutions to combat climate change. And as stated earlier, I mean, the impact of climate change on the ecosystem is very complicated. Many large lakes in Africa, for example, have changed character due to urbanization, due to climate change. And it's the interaction of the physical system and biological systems. And eco-hydraulics is a key theme, the interaction between flow mechanics, biology, water flow, etc. Because this relates to many of our measures, nature-based solutions, river restoration, use of sand engines for land creation, mangroves for coastal protection, and development of coastal reservoirs, for example, is a key measure to address water security. And actually, we are 85 years old. In December, we'll celebrate our 85th anniversary, and our strategy is reflected in the 3 themes we choose: eco-hydraulics and nature-based solutions, AI and water. Despite all the talk, the penetration of AI in water is still very weak. A lot of opportunities for innovation, for economy, for entrepreneurship. And lastly, water security in Africa. We believe we are expanding our reach for collaboration. Finally, I'd like to make 2 points for suggestion for the leaders here, people with resources to pay billions of dollars. One is, I feel that much greater investments in monitoring of coastal ecosystems are needed. For example, Hong Kong, we've experienced 2 super typhoons in the past 3 years. And when you want to deal with the problem, the data is not there. Very often the data is not there. And when you talk about ecosystems, it's even worse because you need long-term data to differentiate the effects of climate change from noise. And that really needs very, very advanced technology, how to monitor the change in species over time, etc. And so that's the first point. The other is, I echo the one comment made, more dialogue between science and policy, and that comes with international collaboration. We're very happy we're entering collaboration right now with K-Water. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph Lee, for sharing your ideas. Now, I would like to Next question for Dr. Abu Adam Amani and Dr. Marco Suhauten. UNESCO and VEI has developed many projects for countries with significant water-related issues. Please share some best practice of your organizations in this regard. Furthermore, global experts from various fields like industry, academia, and politics gathered here today to attend the forum. Could you give some advice on field of international cooperation in accelerating SDGs action? Please answer to this question and the common question together. First, Dr. Amani, please answer to this and the common question together in 3 minutes.
Okay.
Please.
Yeah, thank you once again for the floor. I want to start with the last question regarding the accelerating of SDGs. Within my intervention, I highlighted that UN agencies through UN Water came together to launch what we call the SDG 6 Global Accelerator Framework. And I believe that this is a very good example of partnership among UN agencies, helping to mobilize collectively as one to support countries in accelerating the SDGs. Now, within that framework, this gives me the opportunity to continue with the second part of the question. Within that framework, 5 priority areas were identified. First, we have the financing. I talked it within the remark. The second one is on the data and information, because also within my remark, I highlight on the science, the knowledge base to take decision. The third one is on capacity development. We've got to build capacity, and we know that there is a lot of gap vis-a-vis the expertise, skills missing vis-a-vis addressing the issue of water challenges. The fourth one is on innovation. Unfortunately, as we know, for some rural areas, they don't have that luxury of having the normal water supply system. We need to think outside of the box, how we can provide with autonomous system, innovation, so that they can have access also to water. And the last one was on governance. Governance, we know that the issue of water is not only a technical issue, it's also an issue of governance. Now, when it comes to the issue of data and information, our work within the IHP program, as a scientific program, our work is to understand the hazard. What will be the evolution of climate change related hazard, drought, flood, and also how best we can advise member states in taking informed decision. We all know that there is a lot of uncertainty when it comes to climate change. But let me give you some examples of concrete delivery. When it comes to the hazard, for example, we just last year finalized the drought atlas of Latin America and the Caribbean. So this is a document which helps member states, based on the history of the data they have, work together with them to know what are the frequencies of drought within the region. So this is and actually we are continuing doing the same exercise for Africa. We'll soon also have a drought atlas for Africa. Another also example I can provide is on the monitoring of the hazard. We work with universities to identify tools, methodologies, and then to deploy those tools and methodology for the needs of member states. So in that regard, we deployed an integrated drought and flood management monitoring system in Latin America also and also in Africa. And currently we have a very important project for 2 river basins in Africa, for Volta River basins and Niger River basins, working with the ACHARM, the International Center for Hazard and Risk Management in Japan, deploying early warning system for flood management for those regions, and also building capacity of experts within those regions. So those are concrete examples which we have been doing and will continue doing them. And finally, within the framework of accelerating the SDG 6, we, with other partners, there is a coalition which is called Climate and Water Coalition, which is hosted by WMO, which helps to identify data and information which are relevant so that member states really can take appropriate decisions when it comes to accelerating SDG 6. So let me stop here.
Thanks for your valuable comments, Dr. Amani. Next, Dr. Shuauten, please answer to the questions.
Thank you so much also for having the opportunity to participate in this important forum. The organization I work for is VEI. What we do, we are owned by water operators. And we are a social enterprise, meaning that we are for and from water operators. And we organize a solidarity between water operators. So we operate in about 20 countries and we support about 50 water operators worldwide. So what you see is in the current COVID-19 crisis, that it underlines essentially the vitality of water operators to sustain at all times the provision of water services to the population. So as our organization, VEI is based on strengthening water operators, making them more resilient, better able to overcome crisis. So our work in that sense becomes more important. Moreover, if you want to have continued service provision also during times of crisis, especially in a pandemic as Corona, you need to have water and sanitation. That even becomes much more important than before. So you need to have a way of becoming more resilient towards these type of crises. So we combine in these pandemic crises also additional short-term measures to support water operators to immediately deal with the crisis. For example, a key challenge for many water operators is liquidity, how to collect the bills from the customers and how to overcome this by short-term cash flow problems. So what you see is that respect, the key innovation of the Sustainable Development Goals compared to the Millennium Development Goals lies in this letter S. So the sustainability of it. You need to make your impact sustained. So it's not only important to give people access to water, but to make sure that the water is flowing from the tap. And the only way what we see is doing that is by paying due attention to continued service delivery and operation and maintenance. So what you need are healthy and capable service providers. If you do not have these in place, financing is not really the solution. You need to have the implementers there. You need to make sure that if infrastructure is built, that it will continue. You need to make sure that water flows through the pipe. But we also see that also in the coming 10 years, most of these providers will be of public nature. So it is important, that's what we are advised, to pay due attention that there is sufficient income. So for example, focus very much on tariffs. Make sure that there is an affordable tariff and a tariff which is also possible to pay employees and to motivate employees and to hire a good competent employees. Skills and training, for example, I'm happy that also IHE is participating in Unesco IHE because it's very important to build up the capacity of staff, but also structure. So the organizational strengthening, but also let's say the legal mandate and enabling environment which is around the implementation of water service provision is key. So how to deal with political influences. Water will always be to some extent a political good, but how to make sure that that is used for the best. And also, of course, that relates very much to public financing. There's a lot of focus on private financing, but what we see is this sector is still very much dominated by public financing, which is much more often in a sense of priority setting than of lack of funds. So as VEI, we organize ourselves, very importantly, not through projects, but through partnerships. But because what we see is that the water sector is, you need to have patience. You need to be there for the long haul to make an organization and to help an organization become healthy. That takes time. So therefore, we have our programs have 10 years periods, because if you cannot change the world in 1 or 2 years. Based on that, through these partnerships, we call that water operator partnerships, WOPs, we are able to help and realize better the sustainable cooperation. We're looking then for sustainable water services improvement. Nice example in this respect, for example, is how to overcome a crisis. Last year there was a terrible hurricane coming to South Africa, Idai. At that point, many utilities and many cities were badly battered by this hurricane. For example, the city of Beira. Well, we have for the last 10 years a partnership with the operator there, VPAC. And based on that, the organization is healthy. It has motivated staff, it has capacitated staff, has staff which is willing to make a change. It knows where the customers are. It has a strong financial base. And based on that, it is able then to provide also during these crises an essential service like water to the people, especially in these times of crisis. That's most needed. So what you see, well, of course, COVID is a horrible experience for all of the world. But if something good comes out of it, it at least underlines the essence of water and sanitation for the world to operate. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Stouten, for sharing your insight. Next, I would like to ask short questions to Dr. Foshon of WWC. The 9th World Water Forum will take place in Senegal in 2022 under the theme of water security for peace and development. Why is water security the main challenge for next 20 years according to the World Water Council? Please.
Thank you. First of all, let me tell you that I'm just coming back from Dakar, Senegal, where I met the President of the Republic of Senegal, Mr. Macky Sall. And so we have decided to publish an official communique and joint announcement which mentioned the postponement of the 9th World Water Forum. It was expected to take place in March 2021, and we have decided the postponement to March 2022, 1 year more. Discussions have also been focused on the priority themes of the forum. Water security, which we have discussed today, but also rural development. It's the first time in a forum that we are focusing on this issue. Cooperation and innovation. With the President of Senegal, we have also decided to push very strongly the political process, which is key to the success of the forum. The political process will lead to a summit of head of states and will include also preparatory processes with ministers, but also with parliamentarians. And we will be glad to have the participation of the Korean and the Asia-Pacific parliamentarians. Also on basin authorities, and also on local authorities, municipalities, and others. The postponement, obviously, the postponement of the forum by 1 year is due to the consequences of the COVID-19 outbreak. But it will allow to achieve increased insight on the issues of water, pandemics, hygiene, and population health protection, and the link between them. So in the coming weeks, Senegal and the World Water Council will give a new impetus to the preparation of this 9th forum. And you will be informed of some new initiatives. The forum in Africa is, first of all, an opportunity to change the way we think about water. But it's also an opportunity to organize a forum on the African continent, which is the continent most affected by water scarcity. Water scarcity generates thirst, of course, but also a disease, lack of food, and even ignorance, because there are many difficulties in educating children who are all day long in search of water. On the other hand, Africa has many scientists and engineers and high knowledge on how to manage water and sanitation. And we need to ask them to participate strongly to this, the preparation to this forum. African countries have shown that they can adapt and progress very quickly on many subjects, such as digitalization, adaptation to water local conditions, and to water-related disasters. Africans have their own solutions. They have their own answers. And the Dakar Forum will be the opportunity to show them to the world. And the forum will be the place where all countries will share their answers for the world, with the obligation to show concrete response adaptable to local situation and territories suffering from scarcity and injustice. And I would like to underline this subject. This forum will be the forum of response. I invite you again to reinforce your participation to the working groups and all the preparatory processes which will contribute to make the forum historical momentum. So again, thank you so much, dear Korean colleagues, for inviting the World Water Council in this forum, and great success to everybody. And thank you for your participation to the next World Water Forum. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Foshon, for your valuable comments. Next, the additional question is for Mr. Jail Byun. Recently, you were inaugurated as the new president of AAWC. What do you think about the role of legislative instruments for water security in responding to the increasing severity of climate change? Please.
So we are talking about climate change issues and COVID-19 issues. And for that end, water management will be very essential. Many presenters already talked about that. And I believe that Korea can make a contribution to the world. And these issues that the world is facing right now, in that regard, the AAWC is at the center to respond to these issues. And especially, we have to work hard and we have to tackle water-related issues in the developing countries. And for that end, there should be very strong support from the government in terms of administration and legislation. So at the National Assembly of each country, they have to think hard about legislative support so that they can tackle water issues. So we can exchange this information each other. And in terms of Korea, we can have a discussion with K-Water, and we can make a new proposal to K-Water, and we can suggest a new solution to K-Water. We can have a consultation with K-Water. By doing so, I believe that we can tackle water-related issues. And on top of that, at this moment, we are facing fourth industrial revolution and digital revolution. And against this backdrop, and if you look at the global trend, there is a concentration in the city. There is a urbanization and acceleration of urbanization. So we have to think about how to solve the water issues in the cities. And so in the acceleration of urbanization, we are witnessing many pollution. So we have to reduce the pollution, and we have to prevent flooding in the cities, and we have to restore rivers within the city. So with the development of the urbanization, these issues are emerging. So we have to respond to the issues really actively, and we have to work hard with relevant organizations.
Thank you, Mr. Byun, for your valuable comments. And thank you all of the panelists for sharing your knowledge and such diverse insights with us. Once again, I would like to thank all of you, and I'd like to wrap the session now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor So, and all the water leaders for sharing such invaluable insights with us. Due to the time constraint, we would like to move to the next program. There will be a MOU signing ceremony between K-Water and IAHR before the closing. So Dr. Park, please proceed to the MOU table, and Dr. Lee, please prepare for the online ceremony. Through signing this MOU, K-Water and IAHR look forward to strengthening partnership and global communication to resolve water issues. So Dr. Park and Dr. Lee, please kindly sign on the MOU respectively. Everyone, please give them warm round of applause. Now we will take a photo to commemorate this MOU. So Dr. Park and Dr. Lee, please hold up the MOU to the camera so that it can be seen to everyone. Once again, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your participation. And to conclude today's forum, K-Water CEO Dr. Jae-Hyun Park will deliver his closing remarks. So everyone, please welcome Dr. Jae-Hyun Park for the closing.
We have reached the end of the first Global Water Leaders Forum. I wish we had more time to continue our discussion, to share your insightful thoughts. Without doubt, all of your valuable contributions shared today will greatly help overcome the global water crisis and achieve the 2030 global goals for sustainable development. With the impact of climate change, increasing risk of both floods and drought, water resources management accounts for about 19% of climate change mitigation and adaptation. Water scarcity and disputes over transboundary water can be the cause of war, and water security can pose a serious threat to regional, national, and global existence. This is a great need for effective water resources management to prepare for fourth industrial revolution, digital transformation, new normal, and climate change crisis. we will be able to develop together by collectively sharing our experiences and insights through the mutual cooperation of various stakeholders beyond the effort of one country or one organization. I hope today's forum contributes to the ongoing conversation to explore how we can achieve SDG 6, ensure access to water and sanitation for all, and global water welfare. Although the COVID-19 pandemic represents an expected disruption to international cooperation, the Global Water Leaders Forum can help expand the cooperative network and develop cooperative projects based on mutual benefits and the common prosperity of the global community. The forum will continue to provide an opportunity to discuss a variety of global water issues, such as smart water city, Green New Deal, smart water management, water governance, and integrated water resources management. Your presence here today has been invaluable and has helped make the event a great success. I would like to express my deepest thanks again. Thanks once again, and wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Park, for closing the forum. This will officially conclude the Global Water Leaders Forum. So I sincerely appreciate all of you for joining us today, and I look forward to meeting you face to face in the near future. Thank you very much.